So during my career, I was very fortunate to play for 7 wonderful organizations and wonderful teams. So I got to see the organizational structures within them collectively and individually, and I got to see and be able to relate and connect with 7 times as many players as I normally would. And within that, I had the opportunity in 11 years to go to 9 championship games, right? 5 Open Cup finals, which I won, 4 Open Cup or 4 MLS Cup finals, which I lost 3 of, and was able to finally win an MLS Cup final with the LA Galaxy. And the most unique thing about that victory is the fact that I didn't play more than 4 games for the first time in my career. I went down with a knee injury, which was adversity in itself, knowing that it would be 6 months. But to still be a part of that team and still be considered a part of that ecosystem, even as an injured player, and to still be celebrated, as we won that cup, is something that's very special and dear to me. And I remember, certain guys coming up to me and said I was just as much as a part of it as they were, and they were very key and influential guys within that team at the time. But some of the greatest leaders that I've ever played with, if I go full circle, going all the way back to my first years in the league and sometimes maybe even college, was I think Shari Joseph was a fantastic leader on the field. I think Taylor Twellman provided great leadership on the field. Matt Reese, Jay Heaps. As I moved over to San Jose, I think Joe Cannon was terrific. I was fortunate to have play with Darren Huckerby. And then you move into Seattle, and to this time he's blossomed into a fantastic individual. But on the field, he was a general, even at our young time with the Seattle Sounders. It was Osvaldo Alonso with the Seattle Sounders, center midfielder. I think that he embodied a spirit that I loved, and the way he was able to compete with such a smaller frame, but he played with such passion and desire, and can control it in a way that allowed him to be successful. In addition to that team, you had Jeff Park, you had Casey Keller, who was a U.S. national team legend. I can keep going on, but as I get to DC United, you had Perry Kitchen, who I think is a tremendous asset and to this country as a footballer, and a fantastic guy. Bill Hamid. So those are kind of 2 young guys that I knew had the tools to become leaders within it. But even in the veteran presence of Dwayne De Rosario there, which is great. And then you come to the LA Galaxy, where obviously Landon Donovan, Omar Gonzalez, Robbie Keane, just such a collection of guys with a pedigree that you aspire to be in or be with. And you could tell when we had big games, or when there was a different mood within the locker room, in a good way, where there was just an extra sense of urgency and extra focusedness, an extra bit of grit that they embodied when we had big games. But they could do so in a calming way, but in a way that you knew it was time to really focus in. And I tell stories all the time, but you could tell by the way Robbie Keane, Landon Donovan, and Omar Gonzalez walked into the locker room on a game day that we had basically won the game. They had brought and exuded such a confidence as they walked in, a laser focus that it was about business, and that was something that was very special to me. Having the ability to come home and play with the likes of a Drew Moore, who was a staple with the Colorado Rapids for a long time, and a Sam Cronin, who came in. I mean, 2 guys that I fully respect, and throw Bobby Burling in that mix, just for the body of work that they created as players. They brought it, were consistent every day, grinded it out, enjoyed their craft, brought joy to it, but at the same time could get down and dirty and really show some grit in trying to prepare and get results. So they're definitely people that I admire, and it was very fortunate to call them teammates as well. Though a lot of those things are and a lot of those players, I try to embody their characteristics and their traits to a certain degree, but also know that every person is their own, and that I usually try to lead a lot by example. Very, very rarely am I very rah-rah, but for me, you can lead a great example just by the way you prepare and train every day, and you build up yourself to be one that the team can trust on a daily basis, on a consistent basis, to perform, whether it's for 500 people in a first round Open Cup game, or whether it's, you know, 45,000 in Open Cup final in front of your home fans in Seattle. So that's kind of how I embody myself and try to prepare myself as best as possible, not only for myself, but because I want to really perform for my teammates that are right next to me. Is how I've always, you know, grown to build my career.